G'day everyone, it's Jai, that Aussie metal guy here with Crank.com. So tonight, wherever you are in the world, it's an absolute pleasure that I'm getting to chat with Perth alt metal rockers, late 90s frontman Stephen Loreck with a sound that draws heavy from heavy hitters like Silverchair, Paramore, Deftones, just to name a few, but I was picking out a whole lot of other stuff out of your music as well. Late 90s have carved out a name for themselves through raw honesty, electrifying live shows, and over 2 million bloody digital streams, fresh off their big sound debut. Tours alongside the likes of Neck Deep, State Champs, Taking Back Sunday, just to name a few. The band have dropped their latest single, Low, a gritty, visceral track that dives deep into the push and pull of self-love and self-loathing. Get to chat about the band's journey, their music, and everything that went into Low. Stephen, thank you very much for joining me, my friend.
Thanks for having me, man. That was a very kind intro.
Mate, I don't muck around when it comes to the fucking intros, bro. Can you take us back to the very beginning? How did late 90s first come together?
Yep, so we started in I think 20 end of 2019 we had our first jam. I'm 3 years younger than the rest of the other boys. So there's twins in the band. That's Zach and Brody on bass and lead guitar. And then Elliot's the drummer. And those three were always best friends growing up. Obviously being twins, and then Elliot was like the best mate. Um, and yeah, they played in a band in high school, and then I went to the same school, just yeah, a couple years younger. And then I kind of came into the picture when I graduated school. Yeah, they saw me play with another band that I was doing just like this one-off gig, and then they hit me up and we had a jam, and then yeah, it got obviously COVID and all that happened, but as soon as COVID was over, we started playing gigs, and yeah, but now it's 2025, so
Now it's
yeah,
2025. Things have been rolling along quite
yeah,
well. You've got a couple of EPs. You did drop the Silk EP in 2025, and everything is closer than it seems back in 2022. I think Echoes was one of the earlier tracks. What was one of the original vision for the band when you guys first started, and how do you think it's evolved over time since that?
um, yeah, we've definitely gotten a lot heavier since we
Yeah.
started. Like when we started out, we kind of did have like a couple more like surfy punk sort of vibes. Always liked the like grunge stuff, but then I don't know, our producer that we were working with at the time, Matt Templeman, he just I don't know, I think he kind of encouraged us to play a bit heavier, and we all liked it. So, he was always showing us some like different chord voicings and like that sort of thing, and like that just made our music a bit heavier, and then we just got really inspired by that and like experimenting with different tunings and that sort of thing, and now we pretty much play in drop C sharp for everything when we used to play the standard. So yeah, we kind of the original vision, yeah, was so kind of, I don't know, I don't think we were thinking too hard about it, but yeah, probably just like surf punk, pop punk sort of stuff, and then yeah, just gotten way heavier since.
Well, that's it, because I was hesitant to put that. Like, I know on the presses it's like alt rock, and a couple of places it's floating around as
Yeah.
alt rock, but you're definitely more than just an alt rock band as well.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. Maybe we should. Yeah, because
I don't know, dude.
you said old metal, and maybe I don't know, because like we don't really play like with
I
like
know it's hard to pick a genre. I hate this fucking
with
genre
the
game,
heavy
but dude,
like
yeah.
yeah, like we've always, when we started, we were kind of always the like slightly heavier band, and now we're not heavy enough to play with all the metal bands, so we're like somewhere, but way too heavy to play with the indie bands. So we're somewhere somewhere in between.
Yeah, but like you mentioned grunge as well. Grunge was
Yeah,
a form of metal as well, and punk and all
yeah,
that kind of sits in together because it's just kind of one hand in the other as well. And it's great you
yeah,
have that sound that does kind of diversify a bit with your rock there, and you have a bit of the grunge influence as well. Definitely some Deftones, some post-hardcore influences in your
yeah,
music
for
as
sure.
well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we take a lot of inspiration from a lot of different places. That's for sure.
Yeah, and what was the name of the late 90s? Is that any ode to kind of that as well? What does that represent for you personally?
Well, the other boys were born in 98. I was born in 2002, so I don't know, we kind of needed a name, and then I don't know, that kind of came up because we saw the movie mid 90's, the like skate film.
Yeah.
Then I don't know, we desperately needed a name because we had our first gig like on the weekend, and we were like, oh, like we need to come up with a name, and then it was
Fuck
a
it.
lot better than any other names we had. Like our original name was Goonstains. So So it's definitely better than that.
Yeah,
Um,
that sounds like some like crust punk band, doesn't it? Like
yeah, yeah,
Goonstains, dude.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And speaking of grunge, man, I was watching that. I got to mention it, man. That live acoustic performance you done of that Nirvana, man, that was pretty fucking dope track, man. I was a huge
Oh
Nirvana
wow.
fan
Yeah.
as well, man.
Oh,
Was it
thanks.
Where Did You Sleep Last Night? It was a
Yeah, yeah,
really,
yeah.
really awesome cover, man. You just hit those notes, and it was, yeah, it was a good video to watch, man.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that was a pretty cool. Yeah, yeah, that was a while ago now. I kind of
Yeah.
forgot. Kind of
I
forgot
know.
about
I
it.
was
So
doing
thank you.
I
Cheers.
was doing my research,
Yeah.
dude. Like that's one
Yeah,
thing.
100% you have. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I was definitely pretty impressed. So Perth is a unique scene. What's it like being over there? It has a very, very strong scene and one that you should be proud of, as does
Yeah.
all Australia. But what's it like over there cutting your teeth over in the Perth scene?
Yeah, I think like as I was saying before, like obviously we've kind of gotten a bit heavier. So when we started, we were sh sharing bills with a lot more like just indie and more like surf sort of bands. Now we definitely do play with like a few heavier ones. We don't really play with the bands that we first started playing with as much. Just because I don't know, we probably just scare everyone away, but who goes to the indie gigs. But yeah, it's very much kind of like one sort of scene because obviously Perth is quite small. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, there's heaps of bands, but it's kind of more like it's less like this individual clicky scene versus it's kind of just like everyone kind of knows each other and is at each other's gigs on the weekend. Doesn't really like the genres don't matter as much as
Yep.
compared to other cities from what I've heard. Um anyway, so yeah, it's pretty supportive. Like people aren't really in as much like competition as each other as it's a win for us all if someone from Perth does well because it puts some spotlight over here. So yeah, it's a pretty good scene.
Yeah, I dare say it'd be a pretty tight knit and close scene because it's not as easy
Yeah,
for you guys to skip over and play different
yeah,
cities where bands in like Brisbane, Sydney, and Melbourne they can just bounce around between each other every other bloody week. And
yeah,
when
for
you're
sure.
working and you got to pay to get over to where you're going and all
Yeah,
those other costs incurred with jumping over and playing other states, it makes your scene twice as tight and close because you
yeah.
have to be.
It definitely takes like a lot longer for a Perth band to go on tour because like you can play down south and like you can play at a couple of spots other than in Perth, but when a band like gets plays outside of WA for the first time, it's kind of like a bit of a big deal, I guess, just because it's so expensive to to do it. So you know you kind of have to have um, you know yeah, it's a bit further down the line in the band's journey, I think, than compared to if you just drive for a few hours to a different state,
Yeah, and that kind of makes it
You're over
worth
eight.
when you get those opportunities, I suppose, to
Yeah,
jump
exactly.
over to Big Sound and play those couple of shows and kind of, I know it's a big journey over there, but just something like that, being around that, meeting people behind the scenes as well, other
Yeah,
musicians and PR and all sorts of stuff as well, kind
yeah,
of
for sure.
exposes you to a different crowd and networking and new people as well, not just playing the show. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I always like feel like it's kind of funny, like whenever I'm out of Perth, I feel like I'm the Perth is like so much further away than when I'm actually here. I'm just like, oh, it's like, doesn't feel as far, but when I'm actually over east, I'm like, and you say you're from Perth and people are like, oh, really? Like they're hell surprised. They're just like, yeah, like I don't know. Obviously it's normal for me, for everyone I know to be from Perth, so it's just kind of funny.
Yeah, well, that's why like I've got like a few American friends and explaining to them that Australia is the same size as America, dude. It's like
Yeah,
bouncing
it's
from one
massive.
side of the country to the other, dude. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
that
yeah.
fucking easy. And you guys have managed to tour with some bloody good names as well, like Neck Deep and State Champs and a
Thanks,
few
yeah.
other really cool bands. What was that like playing with those guys?
Oh, that was unreal. Best week of my life for sure. And I think all the other boys would say the same. Yeah, it was, yeah, an unreal week. Like, got to hang out with the state champs boys a fair bit. And they were super, super nice. And, we'd go in and drink all their beers every night and stuff and hang out with them and tried chat to them as much as we could to just get some advice and that sort of thing. And got to have some good chats with the neck deep guys as well. Yeah, they're all really just kind and genuinely like, just wanted to help out the younger bands and that sort of thing. So that was really cool to just see that they weren't like stuck up and didn't, weren't interested in watching us play any of the 5 nights, which, we don't know them. Like you might they might be obviously they're super jet lagged coming all the way to Australia.
Yeah.
Like they're both massive bands. Like they might just want to do their thing and then just go on, not leave the green room until they play. But they all like watched us play a couple times, so that was really cool and special for us.
Yeah, the majority of the people in this scene are all round pretty good people as well, and
Yeah,
it's guys like you getting around that and not only taking in like all those knowledge and stuff from artists like that, watching how they do things as well, which is really
yeah,
quite smart. You meet so many new fans as well because they come and they see the headliners. If you're smart like me, you get there early, you catch the
yeah,
support
yeah, yeah,
acts, and you get blown away as well. So it's great for you guys to land bills like that and Aussie bands like that to land spots like that because it does
yeah.
get you out to a fucking broader audience as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like we did our first like headline Australia tour like maybe like 3 months after that,
Yeah.
and literally everyone had like who was there was at those neck deep shows. So that was like okay, yeah. I mean, it was very much expected, but nice to know we retained some fans from that.
That's it, eh? And it's like get good to get out to those good shows and catch bands like
Yeah.
yourself, but it's also equally important to get out and support the local scene that you're bloody in. I was having this conversation
Yeah.
over the weekend that like we can fill up these bills, and I've watched like in Adelaide, I live in Adelaide, where we can have big bands like two, three big bands playing and like selling out most of the shows on one night. It's like I
Yeah.
know we can do it in the local areas, but people just need to get out a little bit more and support the local scene because you're going to find
Yeah.
your next favorite band there. And there's the
Exactly.
scenes like the Perth scene, the Adelaide scene, the Melbourne scene. All in all, everyone is so supportive and welcoming, and you meet so many great people getting out
Yeah.
and fucking supporting your local scene. It's hella important to be able to support bands like yourself and other bands at these shows as well.
Exactly. Yeah, and you never like yeah, it's always cool to say like we saw like this band when they were, playing this venue in Perth or whatever. So yeah,
And then you find
100% couldn't
yourself
agree
out
more.
chatting to half the bands and networking like at a
Yeah,
festival or
exactly.
something like that as well, and you make new mates or people you can work with, and it's a whole bloody community as well. It's a really good thing. Like I went down on the weekend, and it was like cool to see the bands, but you go down and see a whole bunch of people you only see at gigs as well, and it's like some bloody community.
Yeah, 100%. So good.
Yeah, then lyrically, your songs don't shy away from vulnerability and darker themes. Tell me a little bit about what it's like for you at the core for the songwriting process for all this, man.
Yep. So me and Zach, the other guitarist, we kind of take the lead with the songwriting with lyrics, but normally like I'll kind of either have a song and lyrically, and then Zach will have another, and we do work on it together. But most of the time, it's like one, it's sort of like more like it's definitely very much a collaborative process among all the boys. But like normally, either me or Zach will kind of take the lead with how we uh, have the vision for the song, like lyrically and instrumentally. But normally, yeah, me and Zach will like work on it together, and then we'll show the other boys. Kind of that's kind of how the process sort of goes. Um, yeah,
Yeah, so jumping into low, man, like I was reading the press and everything, it's kind of been described as a battle between self-love and self-loathing. Tell me about where the inspiration for this track come from.
yeah. Like last year, I was just like going through some shit,
Yeah, I get that.
um,
Where
and
we all.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, I think I just was kind of just in a bit of a hole, and I was just kind of just beating myself up a bit for not taking care of myself, but then I couldn't really be bothered doing good things to make myself feel better and that sort of thing. So that was kind of what the song's kind of about, and just like wanting someone else to just like do all the hard work for you and just pull you out, but you kind of have to do it yourself. So that's kind of the gist of what the song's about, really. Yeah, just a bit of a yeah, as you said, a bit of a battle between yeah, wanting the best for yourself and then kind of not really liking yourself at that present stage and where you are in your life, and then yeah, just battling and dealing with that.
Yeah, it's hard times. And you got to be able to lift yourself out as well. Those to turn
Yeah,
those around as well. Like
yeah.
that. I was having this conversation, exact conversation about those themes like 2 days ago.
Oh,
So
really?
it's funny that you were talking about this now. You said, like I was reading there, this is your first time taking on production duties as well for one of the tracks as well. Tell me a little bit about what pushed you to step into the role and what was it like doing that?
Yeah, so I've been doing like recording and producing work the last like couple years. I've been like really got into it probably like 3 or 4 years ago. And then started doing it for other bands. Only really like probably mostly like this year. Like I did a bit last year, but I've kind of leaned into it a lot more this year. And always wanted to do the band stuff, but I had never done it from the start. And a lot of like a lot of producers get lucky with like, getting to experiment and mess around with recording and production with their own band. But because our stuff had already been at like quite a like high level, I was always very, very scared to like take the leap and then have it sound shit. And I think all the other boys would felt the same. So like we obviously I didn't want it to be a drop off, anything like that. So I was a bit nervous to do all the recording for it, but yeah, it ended up turning out really, really good. And I think I definitely liked having the extra like control over the creative process and being able to spend the extra time retracking. Like we tracked vocals like 3 times just because I wasn't happy with it and just because we could just do it again. I just wanted to,
Yeah.
and happy with how it ended up. So yeah, and we like retracked bass a couple times as well, like things which was kind of like it probably wasn't going to make or break the song, but probably just squeezed the lemon that little bit more and got that extra juice out of the song. So yeah, it was really cool to have that experience.
Yeah, and the sound is
Yeah.
unreal, and it's going to make things a lot easier being able to do a little bit
Yeah.
more in-house as well, with you
Yeah,
taking more of
exactly.
that production role going forward for you and the guys.
Yeah, it gives us a lot more money to tour and that sort of thing, which is the focus for us.
Yeah, a
Just play
lot more
as many
money. You'll
shows.
be able to buy a bottle of water when you're out on tour as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
The song was recorded at Emerald Room Studios. I was reading with mixing by Emma and mastering by Brody. Tell
Yep.
me a little bit about that collaboration process and shaping the final sound.
Yeah, so Emmett does front of house for us live. So he has probably yeah, and obviously an amazing understanding of how we want to sound live. So having him mix the studio version is obviously yeah, has many benefits. Not only with he not obviously he did an amazing job, but then the translation live um couldn't be any closer because he's the one who did it. So so yeah, it's super good like that. Yeah, he owns that studio Emerald Room, and I've worked there for like a year and a bit, mostly learning from him. So we have a pretty good relationship, and I definitely, um, yeah, always backed him in and trusted him to deliver a good mix, and he sure did that.
Yeah, and then low balances that heavy grit with the thread of hope as we're talking. How important was it for you to capture that duality in the soundscape you were creating with the song?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I think there's kind of like yeah, a lot of like different. I think yeah, I think you kind of I wasn't probably that conscious
Yep.
to be honest with writing the song, but I guess looking back at it now like lyrically and instrumentally it there is quite a lot of like just like I guess calm and then chaos in the song. Like the verses are reason like no, I don't know. I still am kind of screaming, but instrumentally,
Instrumentally, yeah.
it's not that heavy in the verses and the pre-choruses and stuff. But then like there is like a bit of a fat breakdown and stuff. So yeah, there is actually quite a bit of um I guess what's the word I'm looking for?
That
Uh,
that
there is a bit of
duality.
yeah, duality exactly. Yeah. I didn't really think too much about that, but it does actually make sense.
That's that's
I
my
won't,
job, I
I
suppose.
won't, I won't take credit for it, but yeah, worked out well.
Yeah, I love the sound you guys have going on. As you mentioned, you've started leading it into more of the heavier sounds as well, with that
Yeah,
silky P kind of kicking it off there and some Unbound and a few of those tracks are unreal. Then you got the Low single. Tell me a little bit about looking forward, following on. Where do you guys kind of see late 90s heading sonically and with future releases? What do you got on the cards?
Yeah, I mean, I think we probably will keep. I can't say we will always stick to one genre or anything like that
Yeah.
because I just can't see that happening. But I think we're writing another EP at the moment. And we are, I think more songs like Low, just kind of that like blend of I guess, pop punk and post hardcore sort of stuff, with the occasional breakdown and that sort of thing. So I think that's kind of the direction where we're wanting to go in, with the music. So yeah, hopefully another EP out early next year. Hopefully, yeah,
Looking forward to it, Duke. So I could definitely pick up, like as I mentioned before, those post-hardcore themes coming in
yeah.
as well. Though it's a really great sound. I'm looking forward to what you guys have going forward. Let's jump into a couple of quick fire questions, mate. First band or artist that made you want to pick up an instrument?
Oh, this is actually really random, but
That's I love random.
the first band I ever saw was Skeggs when I was like 14.
Kegs.
Um,
Yeah.
and and I just remember thinking, like, I don't know, because I felt like I could always sort of sing. And I was like, this guy's got like doesn't have a bad voice or anything, but he's definitely not like people aren't going, oh my God, he's got the best voice ever. Um, so I was like, if I picked up an instrument, maybe I could be good at this thing. So yeah, in a way, we have to thank Skeggs for me doing music.
Yeah. Cheers, Kegs. So I'm gonna ask, man, what was the first song you started like learnt, dude? Do you remember?
Oh, I learnt on bass. I picked up bass first, and
Yep.
I I learned how to play "Sweet Child of Mine" on bass.
Yeah, dude. Fuck yeah.
And yeah, it's pretty random, but yeah, I think I can still play the intro sort of riff that goes over the top of the like lead guitar. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, thankfully we moved on from that. First album you ever brought, dude.
Oh, I'm not even I'm not even sure. Um, I'm actually having to think about this. I think the first, I'm not actually too sure what the first album I bought was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna remember later. But
Yeah, I know. It's one like that, dude.
yeah, no one's ever asked me.
If you could collaborate with anyone living or dead, dude, who would it be?
Oh, that's really tough. I think it would either have to be, um, I would obviously love to write a song with Daniel Johns,
Yeah.
or the Violent Soho guys.
Yeah, dude. Mate, it'd be good to see Silverchair back one day as well, wouldn't it? Do another round
Yeah,
together, the boys get together. Stephen, thank you so much for taking the time to hang
no
out,
worries.
share
Thanks,
some
guys.
stories behind Low and the late 90s. The new single, Everyone Low, is out now, so everyone go crank it loud. The neighbours gonna want to hear it too. Stephen, last word, shout outs, thank yous are all up to you, mate.
Thanks so much, man. Thanks for having me on.
Absolute pleasure. Cheers.